And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means? It's time for the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you, and we got a big week of toy news this week from a lot of different companies, so really back in the grind after San Diego Comic-Con the last couple of weeks, really hitting the stride. Got to think it's going to keep ramping up all the way to Christmas and beyond. So a lot of toy news to talk about here this week, but also some housekeeping, vacation. Thank you guys and gals that have reached out saying, Kyle, how's your vacation going? Well, the ups and downs of vacation, as I always talk about in my day job, there's really no escape. There's no escape. I'm always boxed into a corner. So I had to actually do a lot of work this week, unfortunately, but I did get a couple of days off, kind of, even though I worked in the hotel room, as I did go up north. Oh, to north. Not Canada. Shout out to Canada up there, but pretty close. Went up to St. Paul, Minneapolis area, hit the Mall of America, hit Toys R Us. Patreon members, you'll probably have that video already showing a lot of what happened over there. But also hit the Toys R Us, like I said, the Mall of America, did that whole rigmarole. But also went up for Weezer for the debut, first concert of Return to the Blue Planet, or Voyage to the Blue Planet, more like it. 30th anniversary of the Blue album from Weezer. Sold out show, man, it was packed. People were hanging from the rafters is what was going on up there. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit more in Album of the Week, so stay tuned to that for my full Weezer rundown this week here. Well, let's start some housekeeping stuff like we usually do here. Of course, Patreon just gave away over on the Patreon channel the August giveaway winners, so check that out if you're a Patreon member, of course. But also now it is time for the September giveaway. In September, a beautiful month. Oh, the dash towards fall. We're almost there. But September, the giveaway is going to be one Greatest Hits Target exclusive Legends Honky Tonk Man. This will be the giveaway over on Patreon this month. Appreciate all support over there on Patreon. Tons of stuff over on Patreon every single day. You get video after video after video. You get glamour shots of all the figures I do unbox. You get a monthly Q&A. You get the monthly giveaways. You get dog stuff. You get pizza stuff. You get all kinds of stuff over there. So check out the Patreon if that is your thing. Appreciate the support over there. We're not done with giveaways. It's another month of giveaways, I guess, is what we're going to do. This one, you're going to have to go over to my X, of course, Sir Paul 64. Head over to X as we're giving away a Dominic Mysterio Elite figure. Going to give this away to anybody who's eligible for this one. All you got to do is retweet the post and post a picture that you are subscribed to Kyle Peterson 2.0. I'd love you to subscribe to this channel as well, but this is about the Kyle Peterson 2.0 channel, where Mark Summers and Todd McFarlane run wild, of course, as we do know straight from the couch. A lot going on over there, videos every single day as well, but we're about 20 subscribers shy of 5,000 subscribers. Quite the milestone over there on that little itty-bitty second channel. A lot going on, like I said, every single day. So if you want to win this Dominic Mysterio, follow the rules on my X, Sir Paul 64. Retweet the post, of course. It never hurts to like the post as well. It always helps out, of course. And then, of course, post a picture that you're subscribed to Kyle Peterson 2.0. And I will pull the winner, and I will announce it in next week's weekly purchases. So a chance to win a Dominic Mysterio. It's free. It's free. There it is, Dominic Mysterio coming in extra hot. But now let's dive into the toy news. We got a lot going on this week, and let's start it off with Elite 113 Chase CM Punk. We talked about this in the toy news last week. I said, I don't understand this. Is this a real thing? It was up. It was down off ringside. Is this truly real? Well, apparently it's not real, as people were finding out it was canceled this week. So not sure exactly what the story was there, if there was miscommunication between Mattel and ringside, because you feel that would have been announced maybe at San Diego Comic-Con that, hey, there's going to be a Chase of this one as well. That never did happen. So Elite 113 Chase CM Punk canceled. Don't worry, though. We're getting a lot of CM Punk figures. We know that already. But speaking of figures, speaking a little bit of disappointment, speaking, dare I say, a little bit of conspiracy.
I wonder if they're watching your every move. Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
Jesse Ventura back in the fold, and now, unfortunately, today, I'm filming this on Friday, as I usually do. I was planning on heading back to Minneapolis. They do have their Saturday Night Nitro event. Of course, if you watch my toy videos the next couple of weeks, whenever I cover the Minnesota trip. Could be any day. You never know. Patreon, probably by now. If you see that, I was there at the Mall of America, and I was showing the setup for the Saturday Night Nitro they were doing, of course, in the same place as the first Monday Nitro. Pretty cool idea, of course, but they had a fan fest going on Friday. That's why I was going back up. Of course, old good friend of the channel, Matt Cardona, was going to be there. Good friend of the channel, Danhausen, was going to be there. Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler, and a whole lot of others. A cast and of characters, no doubt about it. But they were all going to be up there. But the one I was really interested in is best friend of the channel, hero to many, myself included, Governor Jesse Ventura. Oh, Jesse. Oh, Jesse. I was very excited. I want to get a picture with Jesse, talk to Jesse for a little bit. Unfortunately, not the case. He did cancel, which leads to the conspiracy aspect of all this. Why did he cancel? Is it because he signed a Legends deal, as we did see Jesse Ventura announced his WWE online trading card game? So apparently he put pen to paper on that Legends deal. It has been sent in. But the little asterisk on that is, did he sign it for figures and merchandising? Is it limited? Is it all-encompassing? I guess we'll have to wait to find out what goes on with that. Like we saw this week, Victoria, shout out to Lisa Marie, of course. She put a ton of stuff out there that she was signed a Legends deal. She was pretty happy. Jesse hasn't really said, hey, I signed it. He said, I got it. We're just waiting for signatures, but he hasn't said officially. But by the trading cards game, it looks like he has signed that. So Jesse Ventura on the way, hopefully from Mattel, and there's so many Jessies we could get from Mattel. If you don't like Jesse Ventura, you might be mad over the next couple of years if it comes to fruition, because we got wrestlers, we got announcers, Coliseum collections. We could see a lot of Jesse Venturas. Get me the suited Jesse Ventura. I want conspiracy theory era Jesse Ventura. I want that from the True TV show. That would be an all-timer. Heck, just get me a modern-day bald-headed Jesse from that time when he was governor, things like that. Let's get the governor figure. How about that? There's a lot of Jesse on the table. I'm excited for that. So the little Jesse update there. Samoan Dynasty and the Evolution box sets. We've seen them. We talked about them before. We did see some pretty images of the box sets going on. Box set mania, of course, as of late from Mattel. We've seen them at Walmart. We've seen them at Target. We just unboxed on this very channel the latest and greatest LWO box set. So check out that video if you did miss that one. Lots of content on the channel every single day. Between the two channels, 4 videos every single day, like a young 4 horsemen. No rest for the wicked. Always videos. And of course, Patreon, hundreds of videos ahead at this point over there. But we do see those box sets. We also saw this week Elite 115 making the rounds on social media. It looks like R-Truth. A lot of this we saw at San Diego Comic-Con. R-Truth, Tyler Bate. I guess I'm going to call this one first time in the line. We got like an old ringside collectible exclusive where he was as pale as possible. He was like a young powder out there. Very pale figure. Tyler Bate coming to the line. Kari Sane coming to the line again. Been a while since we've had her. Been a while since we've had Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is a tough one because he's a tippy-top star in the WWE, as we know. There's just not a lot of differences in the look. So it's a great wrestler, a guy that's being, I don't want to say shoved down our throats, but kind of shoved down our throats. But what do you do with a guy like that? Because he has the same look over and over, and people want different looks, as we do know. So we'll see how the Drew ends up netting out for us. We did see CM Punk's going to be in 115. Like I said, we're going to have CM Punk's left and right. Just be ready for that. And then, of course, Rock. Final Boss Rock. And to me, Final Boss Rock is the best Rock of all time. I said it! I said it! I like the Final Boss Rock. I like him cussing. I like him yelling. I like him all jacked up on Monster, the official drink of all Kyles, and, of course, the channel as well. There you go. Shout out to Monster. Always, I'm 5 deep. I'm 5 monsters deep. Maybe, maybe not. Fact check that if you want to. Don't fact check that, guys on the couch, of course. But that's Elite 115. We also saw pretty promotional images of possibly the box set of the year. It will be the Amazon exclusive. It is Papa Shango and the Ultimate Warrior. Man, I want that Ultimate Warrior jacket so bad in real life. I've always wanted it. I'm just not going to pay a fortune for it because I want to wear it. I want to wear it out and about. And I don't want to pay like $500 for a minty one and then have to wear it. So I'm hoping like a Chalk Line or WWE Shop or something re-puts that Warrior jacket out there, and man, I could be rocking that in the fall and winter. Oh, I'd be so stylish. I'd be probably a runway model. I'd probably have to abandon the YouTube channels, just go over to Milan and probably be walking the runways. Is probably what would end up happening there. If I do get that jacket, hopefully one day. We'll see what happens with that. But we're not done with wrestling news here. We got to shift gears over to our friends over at AEW Jazzwares. We did see late last week, of course, if you guys missed it, we did 2 toy news videos last week. Labor Day weekend, 2 toy news videos. So much news coming out. But just missed this one on the second toy news. It was Amazon 2-pack Lucha Bros. Final time in the line, very possibly, well, could be. Little camouflage gear on these. It looks at first like, hey, we've seen these before. well, a little deja vu Iron Maiden style. We have kind of seen these before, but it is camo gear if you look close enough. Looks like it'll be the next Amazon 2-pack. No idea when that's going up. Wouldn't be shocked any day now, though, of course. And we also saw Ringside Collectible exclusives. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10% at Ringside Collectibles. You guys know that. It's the brothers Jay White and Jay Lethal. Very, very cool. Jay Lethal, of course, is Black Machismo, looking absolutely crazy. A 2-in-1 figure, kind of. I mean, you can kind of just make it Jay Lethal, and obviously you can make it his Macho Man persona if you wanted to. And then Jay White looking a heck of a lot better. Love that packaging with the switchblades on it. Very, very cool. One thing about Jazzware is they always do really cool boxes and things like that for their figures. These two right following suit in that whole thing. So the Brothers J available on Ringside, probably shipping here in the next month or so be ready for that. We also saw other toy lines, of course. There's so much wrestling news every single week. Stop the AEW clock as we got some late-breaking news as I was filming, of course, Toy News of the Week. Target.com, Adam Page, full gear Target exclusive, up for pre-order right now, $19.99 or wait for clearance if that is your thing. But Adam Page, man, burning down houses, burning down wallets this week. A busy week for old Adam Page, the old hangman, gonna hang everybody. But of course, head over to Target if you're after that one. Whoa, stop the clock again. Coming in late Friday night with another break-in with a little bit more news. Mattel Creations, and I would assume, you know what happens when you assume. Mark knows what happens when you assume, but if I assume, Ringside Collectibles as well. 2-pack Mattel Elite Headbangers coming to Mattel Creations next week. Pick yours up over there. That's a must-have tag team if there ever was one. Very excited to get that 2-pack. And we know the Dudleys will be the next month, so stay tuned for those on the channel eventually. And then, of course, Seth Rollins. They showed off glamour shots. We've been seeing this one for a long time. The Fan Takeover exclusive, the one everybody wanted, the ones everybody voted for. I believe an Amazon exclusive, at least as of right now. Pretty promotional images for that one. So more on that very, very soon. Big Toys, they're retro Onita. They've been showing some of these out. They should be shipping fairly sooner rather than later. I say that for everything, of course. But Onita is there. Get me a Terry Funk retro. It's wild. I'm looking at my retro collection right over here in this Billy. There's no Terry Funk retros. What are we doing? What are we doing? How do we get a Terry Funk retro? I want, of course, ECW style. I want old school cowboy style. I want really old school NWA champion style. And I want deathmatch style to match the Onita. Hopefully we get some of those in the future. We'll see what happens. But Onita looking good. I already pre-ordered mine, of course. Turn our attention over to Figure Collections. Use discount code Kyle over at Figure Collections. Save yourself 10%. But they do got a Crush figure coming. Very similar to the Hasbro Crush, which I really wish they would have mixed that up. And I think maybe it was the Major Pod this week talking about it. They really should have made it in the Hulk Hogan pose, but with open hands so you could do the Kona Crush. But I guess maybe he wasn't using this. I'm sure they're going to use the Hawaiian Crush down the road. And I guess that's where you'd want to use this. This is more bad guy Crush. So I guess you could take that back. I do wish it was in still a different stance than similar to his Hasbro, but at the end of the day, so many people didn't get that Hasbro, or at this time can't afford that Hasbro. I think it might make more people want to pick this one up. We'll see what ends up happening, but we know more Crushes on the way. Got to get the most out of your license. That's what they're going to do with Crush figures. So Figure Collections, save 10% with discount code Kyle. You guys know that. Turn our attention, I just mentioned the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. Major Bendy's pre-orders this week. They got Mance Warner with the GCW title. They got WCW's Chronic. There's 2 figures I would love to see Elite-style figures of one of these days. See what happens there. But the one that caught my eye, the one that stole my heart and never let go at San Diego Comic-Con, it is good friend of the channel, Jeremy Padower. I love Jeremy Padower. I know he's polarizing to some. People hate his posts on social media. Some people don't like what he's doing with Jazzwares. Whatever you want to say about it, man's been very nice to me, very generous with his time over the years. Always happy to see me, always great for conversation. Just a very nice guy. And not everybody gets to meet everybody. I know how that goes as well. But a very, very nice guy. And he's done a lot for me. I've really appreciated him, giving his okay on me doing the Jakks Classic Superstar book. Of course, available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Just a very, very cool individual. Very happy to have him getting a figure. And it sounds like his figure is going to come in a Classic Superstars-esque packaging. I definitely have to order that. I'm not the biggest Major Bendy's guy. You can't collect all of it. but I am going to get this Jeremy Padawer. I got to have that one. Just very, very cool. I'm very happy to have that. That'll look great in my Classic Superstars room, and I feel like if it has the Classic Superstars packaging style, it almost fits. I almost want to count it as part of Classic Superstars. You really can't, but I almost want to count it. And if I was doing the book, I'd put that in the miscellaneous section, kind of with the TNA Legend line back in the day, if you saw the book, of course. But that is up for pre-order right now, and I think Jeremy said no matter what, it's going to sell out. There's not going to be leftovers. He's probably going to let it run, and then he's going to buy anything extra, I think is what he's going to do there. And then speaking of course, the major pod guys again, this one flew under the radar a little bit. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. Matt Cardona, of course, good friend of the channel, would have saw him up in Minnesota. Unfortunately, Jesse canceled, so I canceled. That's what happens there. Big Rubber guys, it looks like Earl Hebner is coming to the line. They've signed Earl Hebner, so we're going to see a Big Rubber guy, Earl Hebner. Gotta imagine we're going to see a Major Bendy's version of Earl Hebner as well. Once again, got to get the most out of your license. But we do need a modern-day ref for the Big Rubber Guys line. Who better than Earl Hebner, I would say right there. And speaking of Big Rubber Guy style figures, there was a post in the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast group. It looks like Sylvester Stallone, I'm not sure the semantics on this one, but they're coming out with their LJN style figure line of Rocky figures, which really pretty smart, all things considered. And we did see Mr. T, Clubber Lang. Very, very cool Mr. T fans. Of course, good friend of the channel, old Amon out there. Shout out to Amon. He's picking it up day one, I'm sure. I'll probably pick this up as well. I love Big Rubber Guys LJN style figures. I love me some Mr. T. I love me some Rocky, so I'll probably pick this one up. And have to imagine a Sylvester Stallone Rocky will be on its way as well. So who knows? We'll see what ends up happening there, but very interesting turn of events. Are the Big Rubber Guys going to be sweeping the nation in more different toy lines and stuff? We'll have to wait and stay tuned to that one there. But Mr. T, a pretty popular performer, as we do know. And he loves his mom. We know he loves his mom. Top Rope Collectibles, we talked about them in depth last week in the Toy News. PN News up for pre-order 1 month. There's 3 different versions. Got to get the most out of the license. Got to get the most out of the molds. We know how that goes. They did lower the price point on that one. Of course, shipping is included. If you're after that PN News, man, look it up. Top Rope Collectibles. An interesting looking figure. Of course, Galoob style from the old WCW days. This is one of those unreleased ones from back in the day. So I can see a lot of people jumping into this one here. Probably more on that each week as we get closer to the end of the pre-order. And speaking of pre-orders, Matt Maniac's another one. Pre-order ending very soon. I think we're about 5 days away as I'm filming this video. It is the Steiner Brothers and LOD. A little cartoony style, Hasbro style. Going to be interesting where this line goes from here. It'll be interesting how many people pre-order these. Steiner's LOD and the tag team scene doesn't get much bigger than that, so it'll be interesting to see where these end up going. I have to still get my pre-order in. You guys know me. For the most part, I like to wait till the last minute on my pre-orders. Just don't want people holding my money longer than they have to. And I'm buying so many different figures, it helps kind of do that kind of thing. So that's what I do outside of Haslabs and stuff where we're trying to hit those tiers. I want to help out hit those tiers. They don't charge you until it's hit, so at the very end. So that is the little asterisk I have right there. But that is the wrestling news. But you know what my good friend Jerry Reed always says? Good friend of the channel, Jerry Reed, always right. As we got the wrestling figure news done, now we're going to turn our attention to everything else under the sun. And if you guys watched the toy news last week, I talked about the Super 7 Notorious B.I.G. figure. And I said, you know, I don't know anything really about B.I.G. and all the rap music the kids are listening to these days. But I do know a thing about action figures. And I found it very intriguing that this was a blister carded figure instead of the traditional Super 7 Ultimate style packaging. I said, could this be the way of the future with Super 7? Could they be looking to this model in the future? Well, here we are not even a week later. Target's Fall Geek Out event. We saw Lion-O and Monkeyin go up on the Target website for sale. And it is in a blister style pack instead of the original Ultimate style on these. And apparently this Lion-O is the updated version of Lion-O, $35 price point. Much improved over $55. So very interesting to see this happening with Target. Could that be the wave of the future for Super 7 Ultimates? Could they try to move some things around, do some cost cutting, get away from the traditional package, go to blister packaging? Or will it be selected few that go to the blister packaging, that go to the Targets, and you have to imagine Walmart in the future? Maybe it hasn't been signed with Walmart, but once Walmart sees, hey, Target starts having the Super 7 stuff, oh, wait a minute, Super 7, we want it too. We want to undercut Target. So it'll be very interesting to see where this all ends up going with Super 7. But it looks like this Lino is brand new, sold out pretty much immediately. I didn't even see this till an hour in. It was totally under my radar, so didn't even notice about it. But it'll be interesting to see this Lino in person. I will probably pick this one up, but I have to imagine this is very similar to the glow-in-the-dark Lino, just for, not the glow-in-the-dark, glowing lights that are in the eyes. Jeez, easy for me to say. But the glowing eyes on Lino that we saw with Lino Mumra at San Diego Comic-Con, wondering if it's the same exact figure just without all the hoopla with it. Could be. But an interesting turn for Super 7. Can't wait to see where this one goes and what that means for the future of some of these Ultimates that we do collect. Now, I mentioned Haslab earlier. Haven't talked a lot on this channel since San Diego Comic-Con, but there's not really a lot to talk about. It is the G.I. Joe Rattler. Of course, Haslab project ends in a couple of days as well. So if you're looking to get that one, jump in right now. They don't charge you till it's funded, so that's one thing I forgot about. I was like, oh man, I pre-ordered it, but it will be charging me here in a couple of days. So that kind of sucks. It's a little bit unexpected. That is expected, whatever that means. But it looks like the Baroness is in the grass. A lot of us knew the Baroness would probably hit. Still hasn't hit yet, so stranger things have happened, but have to imagine we're going to get this Baroness figure with a couple of days left. We're dangerously close at this point. So another successful Haslab campaign. Really knew it would be. Hopefully next year they go to maybe the ocean. Let's go to the ocean. Let's get the whale. Let's get the moray. Let's get one of those. That's what I would like to see next time. We'll see what ends up happening there. And now I guess we wait for the Dragonfly. It's supposed to be here in the next couple of months. So the Haslab keep going strong, at least in the G.I. Joe side of things. Looking very good. So if you want your Rattler, you got a couple of days left. Limit 5. I know a lot of you guys buying 5 out there. I don't know who's doing that. Maybe a good friend of the channel, Jeff George, might have picked up 5. But the majority of us probably just okay with 1. That's where I'm sitting. Of course, you also know here at this very table. So there you go right there. And speaking of Hasbro, Hasbro PulseCon, September 13th. So right around the corner here next week. Be ready for Hasbro PulseCon. A lot of announcements, a lot of pre-order, the usual fare that we've had the last couple of years with PulseCon, of course. And then speaking of Hasbro, again, a very interesting one that on my long drive to Minnesota, maybe not that long, but long enough to do some thinking. I was thinking about this a little bit, and we saw the Green Goblin reissue. Nice for me. I don't have to pick this one up, but for a lot of collectors out there, man, this figure was worth a lot of money. Now you're just straight re-releasing this, and we talk about it all the time. Hasbro, NECA, Mattel, doesn't matter. Put whatever company you want in there. If they see a way they can make money, guess what? They're going to make the money. They don't care if you have a limited edition rare toy on your hands. They're going to let a little bit of time pass. Then they see, hey, the collectors want this. Hey, guess what? We're a company. We're here to make money. We're going to put these things out, especially characters like a Green Goblin, characters like Cody Rhodes, of course. So there's going to be second, third, maybe fourth chances to get a lot of these figures. And it is frustrating for collectors that collect for value. As I've said repeatedly on this channel for almost 5 years now, if you're collecting for value, you're going to be disappointed more times than not. If you want to make money, put your money in a 401k. That's what I've always said. Do something like that, a savings account. You're going to get better returns than action figures that are taking up space, taking up storage space. You have to clean them, dust them, all that kind of stuff, and then hope to get your money back plus some. Better to go in your 401k, as we always say. It should put that on a shirt. I've been saying it for so long. But the Green Goblin's coming back out, and I was thinking about that driving down the road. Really, that's kind of how it works in everything. It's not just action figures that get reissued. I'm sure shoes get reissued from time to time, but the one that I really drew the comparison to was thinking about Weezer. Once again, the Blue Album getting remastered, re-released, deluxe box sets. We've seen it with Black Sabbath about 5 times. I think their catalog's been remastered. Judas Priest multiple times. Iron Maiden multiple times. Look at Motorhead, my favorite band of all time. Motorhead's re-released the same albums 4 or 5 times, and guess what? Kyle, a sucker, but he loves his Lemmy. He buys them every single time. So we see this in other things. Any company that can make money, because that's what they're there for. They're not there just to say hi to everybody and shake hands. They're there to pay the bills. They're there to pay employees. They're there to make profit. They're going to re-release stuff. So really, action figures, how much different is it than, of course, re-releasing the Blue Album for the 3rd or 4th time that we're going to see here in November? I don't know, but I guess it correlates to everything in life. There's very few physical things that you should be collecting for value because there's always a chance. There's always a chance. You might be saying, I might be saying it right now with these Ultimate Warriors, like this Granite Ultimate Warrior right here. Very rare figure, of course. You know, there's 15 of them in package. I don't know, 100, 200? What is time? What is numbers? What is counting? How many are there loose? I don't know. I could probably sell this thing for $1,000 right now on eBay if I wanted to. But what are the chances? You know, Mattel has said, no, we probably won't. But who's to say 5 years from now, they're just going to re-release this one or release it as an Ultimate. And then most collectors are going to say, I don't need that one. I got the new Ultimate, got it for 25 bucks or 30 bucks, whatever it is. And I move on from there. So that is one watch out. I always say it, but it does kind of hit home this week. Thinking about that Green Goblin, then thinking about CDs and music getting re-released, reissued all the time. So correlation there. There's a correlation there. So if you want your Green Goblin, head over to Hasbro Pulse or go to Entertainment Earth, use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. Got to get a deal, of course. Masters of the Universe talk now. Of course, Masters of the Universe, one of my favorite collections. As we found out, was it 2 weeks ago, maybe in weekly purchases, we called my dad. The question of the week was, what was the first action figure line I ever collected? I thought it was He-Man. My dad did confirm in that video, yes, it was He-Man. But we got Evelyn and Randor from the Masterverse coming in 2025. Images up over there on Mattel's website, so looking good. We also saw some of that at San Diego Comic-Con. We also know the 25th of September, Demo Man coming to the Masters Universe Origins line, Mattel Creations exclusive. So if you're after some Origins, you're after your Demo Man, mark your calendars, 25th, he will be up for sale. And kind of in the same family there, Turtles of Grayskull Shredder. We saw some images of that one. We also saw that at San Diego Comic-Con. My area and the Minnesota area has not hit Leatherhead yet. I was looking for him this week. Still on the hunt. Have to imagine next week or the next week I'll find Leatherhead. Unless it's like Merman. Never saw Merman in the stores. Besides, shout out to Chula Vista. Right down there on the border. For whatever reason, found that when I was in town for San Diego Comic-Con. That was a good hunt for sure because I wouldn't have had the Merman still to this day. Hopefully Shredder's a little easier to find. Hopefully Leatherhead's a little easier to find here in the next couple of weeks. But now we turn our attention to NECA. NECA with another horror announcement. Of course, last week, Evil Dead 2-pack announced. This week, going to one of my favorite movies of all time. I watch it about once a year. A little bit corny, a little bit campy, a little bit of comedy, but a lot of horror as well. An all-timer, if you've never seen it, it is The Return of the Living Dead 2-pack with trash and suicide. Is it weird that I'd rather have the characters from the movie than the kind of animation poster images of the characters? I don't know. Hey, why not both? Why not both? Like young Tommy Dreamer, I'm hardcore. Why not both? But we are getting kind of the animated style there of trash and suicide. Unfortunately, not coming out in October for Halloween. Coming out in January, February of next year. Bad timing, if you ask me. It'd be great to have these releases around Halloween. I feel you get more people diving in, picking some stuff up. Is what it is right there, though. Trash and suicide around the corner. And then, of course, Todd McFarlane. Of course, Todd on the couch. Shout out to Todd here today. Quiet. You've been working in your notebook. You're really putting the final nail into 2025 plans is what I've heard. So I'm going to leave Todd alone here. But Robin, Deathstroke, Page Punchers up for pre-order. Once again, Entertainment Earth over there. Use discount code Kyle, save 10%. DJC Collectibles. Use code ADOFFDJC to save 8% off your entire order. Good friends of the channel over there. But those are up for pre-order. That Robin does go with the recent release of Walmart, of course, Batman. So you got to kind of have those. Kind of strange they're not in the same line. Is what it is, though, at this point there. And then we're going to finish here a little bit more Batman 66, New Adventures Batman, whatever you want to call it. We do got the Batgirl cycle right here. I'm going to play a little long game on that. Yes, the long game, Todd. I'm a little bit disappointed on the Batman New Adventures 66 line. I know it's a different scale, but now they gave us that Adam West in the DC Multiverse. I'm like, I don't know if I want these. I want them in that scale. Be interesting to see. And what? Oh, he's putting the pen to paper down. He says, there's going to be some surprises in 2025. All right, can we get any more vague? I don't know, probably. But 2025, some surprises for the Batman 66. But we do got that one coming. We also saw the whole line, which I did see for the first time at Todd's Shindig in San Diego Comic-Con. We saw Wonder Woman. We saw Batgirl. We saw Clock King. Clock King really getting a big push lately here. 2 figures just recently. Now one in the 66 New Adventures line. Red Joker, Red Batman. I don't know. Let's use our imaginations here, I guess, is what we're doing there. But a lot of stuff coming from the New Adventures Batman line right there. So some interesting stuff from McFarlane Toys, as we do get every single week. But we're not done with the toy news. We're done with the toy news, I guess. Yeah, we're done with the toy news. But now we got to turn our attention to Album of the Week. Right, Album of the Week time. And to nobody's surprise, Album of the Week this week will be the Weezer Blue Album. Picked up this Weezer sweatshirt at the show. A little bit big on me, but my girls like to wear big sweatshirts, and we're all going to share this shirt. We're all going to share it. I said, I'm going to use it first for my toy news video. and now I'll never see it again because Elle will take it and it'll be off forever. So you'll probably never see me wear this ever again, but that's the way it goes from time to time. But it is the Weezer Blue Album, of course, 30th anniversary here, and I remember when it first came out. I remember buying it on cassette tape, later CD, of course. Listened to the heck out of that thing, walking to and from school, listening to it in study hall. I was an early adapter of the Weezer way back when. Absolutely loved the Blue Album. So the Blue Album changed a lot of lives out there. Truly almost a greatest hits record, as every song on that album is pretty good. Surf Wax America, my favorite song. It's a little bit of a deep cut from the album, but I do love that. They did play that in the concert. And I did get to go to the Voyage to the Blue Planet, as I said. It was the first show of the tour, which is always exciting. They got some kinks to work out. We'll talk about that. But it's also the first time you don't know what the set list is going to be. A lot of people go to Setlist FM and find out what the set list is. It was all a surprise. So that made for a pretty fun experience in an absolutely packed Xcel Energy Center, totally sold out. People hanging from the rafters, as I said. People want to hear, of course, Weezer and the Blue Album in order, of course, playing the whole entire album. Dinosaur Jr. opened. I'm not a huge Dinosaur Jr. fan. I've seen it about 7 times opening up for Clutch over the years, so they don't do a whole lot for me. Same thing with the Flaming Lips. Never been a big Flaming Lips guy, but they put on quite the show. Of course, inflatables, all kinds of stuff. They said they were recording the show, which is an interesting move for the first show of the tour. Maybe they were saying that. Maybe they were going to say that for every show on the tour, and they're going to piece it all together as a live album. I guess we'll see what happens there. But both of them set the stage for Weezer, and of course, Weezer came out with a kind of a foreign land, a foreign planet stage show, and it was a little bit of like a show. It almost felt like I was watching a play. They were trying to find their way to the blue planet, and I will say, a little bit chunky. Obviously, first show of the tour, getting the nerves out, getting the pattern down, getting the stage wrap down, but it felt very rehearsed and very robotic for a lot of it, a lot of the commentary. Oh, we need to fix our ship. Oh my gosh, I'm an alien. Things like that. So you can check out my videos on the channel. I show some clips of some of the videos, things like that, if you want to see a little deeper understanding of what the show was. But they played a lot of songs throughout their career to start. I didn't know if they were going to start with the Blue Album, end with it, sandwich it in the middle. I thought they'd sandwich it in the middle and then have an encore with maybe some other songs or something, but they did not. They played a bunch of songs, then went straight into the Blue Album, played the entire Blue Album, and that was the show. There was no encore or anything like that. Blue Album straight front to back to end the show. So know that going into it if you're there for the Blue Album. I was very excited because my favorite Weezer album of all time is Pinkerton, and a lot of people, you know, got into Weezer at different points, or maybe you never did, depending on who you are. Pinkerton was the second Weezer album and almost killed their career. I mean, they fell off the radar hard. I remember on the old playground, or more so the junior high school playground, people weren't about Weezer anymore. They didn't like the album. They didn't love it. I absolutely loved that album. I still love that album. It's still my favorite Weezer album of all time. I like a lot of the stuff from Weezer. Some of the recent stuff been pretty tough to stomach, but a lot of the earlier stuff I do like. I even like the Red albums. I like that Teal album with the cover. They got a little Paranoid cover. They got a lot of good stuff, but some of the stuff, as of late, a little bit rough for me. I got to be honest there, but Pinkerton, an all-timer. So for them to do a mini Pinkerton set was awesome for me. I about jumped out of my chair. Very excited to hear those songs. Obviously, the Blue Album, like I said, basically a greatest hits album. Very cool to see that one front to back as well. Very awesome, and that's what I think brought a lot of people to the show. A lot of people were there for the Blue Album. One of the most nostalgic albums to an entire generation, I would say, and even still to this day, as my daughter Elle, she absolutely loves Weezer, absolutely loves the Blue Album. So it's transcending time, and we saw space with the Voyage to the Blue Planet, and that's where they did finally with the story. You know, they worked their way through songs, doing these little missions, things like that, little videos back and forth to get to the Blue Planet. Once they got to the Blue Planet, it was dying, and then the Blue Album front to back brought that planet back to life. Oh, it was a great story. I mean, one of the greatest stage plays of all time, probably right up there with Cats, I would imagine. But it was a good time to go. It was great to have my kids there. My wife was there as well. Everybody enjoyed the concert. Very cool. Memories were made that will last a lifetime, or at least a couple of weeks until the next one. Who knows what happens there. But hopefully everybody in the attendance enjoyed it. It seemed to be a pretty positive reception for the most part. Like I did say, they worked out a few of the bugs. A little bit stiff, even some of the performance at the beginning. But like everything, constant learning, constant improvement. Have to imagine by the end of the tour, once the middle of the tour hits, they're going to really start hitting their stride. It's going to be even better shows. So should be a good one if you plan on seeing Weezer anytime soon. There are a couple shows in into the run as I'm filming this right here, but definitely worth the time up there. Next time I'll be up there should be for Iron Maiden unless something happens. So very excited to see Iron Maiden here in about a month and a half or something like that in St. Paul at the Xcel Energy Center. And if you're there, give me a high five. How about that? We'll do that there. So there it is. That is the album of the week, the Blue Album, and as I mentioned earlier, being re-released in November. So if you want deluxe editions, all that kind of stuff, you know where to go. The usual suspect places right there. But that's the album of the week, and that's the toy news of the week. What are you interested in? Any good toy news you're excited for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget about the giveaways. Once again, hit me up over there, SirPaul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and Instagram, and of course, Patreon. Support the channel. Head over there. Giveaways, all kinds of stuff. ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And Amazon, Barnes & Noble for my book, The Complete Guide to the Jakks Classic Superstars series. Appreciate the support over there as well. So for another toy news of the week, you know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into another weekend.